Well, I'm joined now by Omid Scobie, co-author of Finding Freedom. Great to see you. Thanks for being with us on Sky News. It's an interesting title, isn't it, that you've chosen for this book, Finding Freedom. Why is it called that?
Well, I think when you look at what freedom really means, freedom to express yourself or speak up on anything that you want, that's something that the Sussexes weren't always able to do within the institution of the monarchy. And certainly where we look at where they're at today, talking about systemic racism and gender equity in a way that we hadn't seen them before, it looks like they have found some form of it.
And you began the book a couple of years ago, but of course the story changed dramatically, didn't it, from when you began to write chapter one?
Yeah, this really started out as a chronicle of their first year of marriage and their courtship and, of course, those first days with Archie leading up to that tour in Southern Africa. And, of course, as time went by, we realised a bigger story was building behind the scenes and increasingly sort of unhappy couple were in front of us. And we found out why that was. You know, it was within the institution of the monarchy that they felt extremely frustrated and under-supported and under-defended from some of the more vicious tabloid attacks too.
Some of the anecdotes and stories in the book are incredibly personal, aren't they? I know they've denied it, but did you speak with Harry and Meghan directly?
No, we didn't speak with Harry and Meghan directly. They didn't cooperate with the book, and there's certainly no secret off-the-record conversations that have taken place either. But I think the unique situation that we had here were many of the people in Harry and Meghan's lives felt increasingly frustrated with some of the coverage that they saw on the people that they knew that looked so different on the pages of some sections of the British tabloids. And I think there was this real desire to speak out in defence of the couple, especially when the palace wasn't doing so themselves.
Because you know as well as I do, when journalists talk about close friends and then make statements, what they actually mean is the people themselves.
No, and I understand that there's this sort of desire to make this the next Andrew Morton book, and unfortunately there is no secret delivery of audio cassette recordings from Harry and Meghan or private diaries or anything like that. We really have spoken to the people close to them who are their friends, who are the people that have worked for them past and present. Those include many palace aides as well themselves. And to also get balance, we spoke with those close to the Cambridges, the Prince of Wales, the Queen herself. And so that really gave a balanced overview of exactly what went wrong.
Yeah, I suppose that has been one of the criticisms of the book, that it's quite one-sided, coming from very much from the couple's point of view. And not all the reviews have been kind. I'm sure you'll be aware of this one today. The only winners from this oily guff are the authors cashing in. That was Richard Kay in the Daily Mail. What did you make of that?
I mean, it's interesting words from a journalist who has cashed in on their relationship with the Princess Diana. But I mean, listen, everyone's entitled to an opinion on this book. And I think one thing that we had really heard about Harry and Meghan time and time again was the other side of the story from within the palace. We knew what other royal family members thought of them. We knew what aides were briefing certain sections of the press anonymously. And I think that this was a chance just to add to that landscape a different perspective. So at least when we look at it all, we now have a much more balanced overview of the situation.
Yeah, and for a couple that have clearly craved their privacy, they've wanted to keep their private life, their personal life private. I mean, this book is anything but.
Yeah, I think that there are obviously a lot of details in here about the couple, and I really wanted to rehumanise them in a way, because it felt like for a long time that we had sort of lost a sense of who they were. They'd become caricatures in certain sections of the press, and I think that this does bring a human quality to the couple again. You know, we have to remember they are a couple that understand the intense interest in their lives, both publicly and privately. You know, only today we saw them confirm to a number of news organisations that they had bought a home in Santa Barbara. So they are willing to share certain details about their lives. I think they're also not afraid to call on the law when they see those lines crossed when it comes to...
You can sort of see how people in the UK will be raising their eyebrows, if you like, that for a couple who have said for so long they want privacy, they want to be out of the limelight, for them to then move to Los Angeles, which is the centre of celebrity, the centre of the paparazzi, is slightly strange.
Well, Santa Barbara is actually 100 miles from Los Angeles, so they're not in Los Angeles or part of Hollywood. They're in California.
Yeah, but it's a showbiz place, isn't it?
California is one of the largest states in America, so it's hard to really call it a showbiz place. It is where Meghan's mother lives, and I think for them as a family, picking a place where really they were able to lay their roots and have that support system around them was very important. And of course, when we look at America, it has a huge charitable landscape, and of course, their Archwell organisation, which they'll be launching later in the year, is one of the big driving factors in the work that they're doing.
Yeah, the book says Meghan says, I gave up my entire life for this family. It was her choice to join the royal family, though, wasn't it? She did go in with her eyes open.
Absolutely. And I think that there's also a difference between knowing what you have up ahead of you and actually experiencing it for yourself. And, you know, listen, if there's one thing that we've seen about Meghan, she really does give it her all. She's not a quitter. And I think that it has been this big common misconception that she was the one in the driver's seat for this decision to step away. And I think in reality, when we really look at the information and everything that we already know about Harry, this was a world in which I think he wanted to step away from anyway. And Meghan was someone that simply gave him the support and confidence within that. But I would also argue that if he had said, let's stick it out a few more years, I would imagine she would have done that too.
And just very briefly, Omid, how will the story end, do you think? Will they return to the UK one day? Will Harry want to come back into the royal family at some stage?
I mean, the Queen's made it very clear to Harry and Meghan that the door is always open for them to come back. They're obviously currently in a 12-month probation period that will be discussed next Easter to see whether it is that they would want to come back. I think when we look at them now, though, they seem very forward-focused. They're laying their roots in the US, and I think the UK will play a big role in their lives when it comes to their patronages and, of course, the family they have over here, but not as working members of it.
OK, Omid Scobie, co-author of Finding Freedom. We must leave it there. Thank you very much.